everyone. I'm John Lynn, the founder and chief editor at Healthcare IT Today. And today we're bringing you a really interesting episode talking about an adventure a couple friends of mine in healthcare IT are going on called Hit the Trails. And we're here with Joy Rios. She's co-founder of Chirpy Bird Health IT Consulting and the Hit Like a Girl podcast. And Shereese Maynard, she's health IT strategist and founder of AskShereese.tech. Welcome, Joy and Shereese.
Thank
Hi,
you.
John. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, so I'm excited to share. I mean, I've self-appointed myself as the #1 hype guy for the Hit the Trails adventure that you're going on. But before we dive into that, tell us a little bit about yourself. Joy, maybe you want to start?
Sure, happy to. So as you mentioned, I am the co-founder of Chirpy Bird Health IT. We focus on merit-based incentive payment systems, security risk assessment, and a little bit helping doctors navigate the transition to value-based care. Mm-hmm. And then when we founded that, I also kind of as a passion project founded Hit Like a Girl podcast to really empower and amplify the contributions of women in healthcare and health IT. And so those two businesses essentially have been running alongside themselves for the last several years, and both of them are my passion. So we'll just find a way to do it all, really.
Yeah. I mean, how many books of MIPS have you published? I forget what we're on.
5. We're on 5.
5 MIPS books. So a true expert of MIPS.
Yes.
I love that you're so passionate about it, all of that. We'll have to have you back to talk MIPS another time.
Fair. Okay.
Shereese, will you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, John. Of course, that's so funny about the MIPS thing because I did not know it was 5, Joy, but that's amazing.
Yeah.
So I have been in the healthcare IT space for over a decade now. I started out actually in pediatrics where I helped a large organization switch from paper to digital and develop tech tools for their use in the pediatric space. And then I moved from that into policy work and that type of thing. But I just really loved working on the innovation side. So I kind of floated back and forth with that. And then eventually becoming the COO of that company. I left eventually and went out on my own, and I speak about health IT. I write about health IT. I just love trying to come up with solutions or looking at other people's solutions to help us live better. And it's been a lovely ride.
Yeah, I can say, I mean, who doesn't want to live at the center of innovation, right? And I was talking to someone recently, I was like, can you do innovation today without technology?
Right.
Like, it's just central to every effort. Not that technology is always the solution, right? But there's some element that it could add. So anyway, let's talk about Hit the Trails. So Hit the Trails, as I would describe it, it's a 3-month adventure. You guys have an RV camper you're towing behind your car, 3 months, ending up at the HIMSS 21 conference in Las Vegas. So I'm here waiting for you all to arrive. But anyway, give us some more details for those that don't know about the Hit the Trails. Shereese, maybe you want to start, and then Joy, you could add some color.
Well, the Hit the Trails tour started out kind of like Joy took this amazing journey herself last year where she hit the trails across the country while we were in lockdown. I myself had a health issue last year that caused me to have to reevaluate some things, and it kind of worked out because the whole country was locked down. So I myself started hiking to improve my health. And then we kind of came together on this whole idea of like, what if we put these hikes together for other women and talked about empowerment and talked about technology and that type of thing. So that's how it was kind of launched. It became a whole thing, and we really got into the logistics of it and what we can offer women while we're out on the road, what we can learn from each other, what we can take in, what we can learn from our allies, the lovely males out there who have knowledge and wisdom to impart. And it's just been a nice time. I'll let Joy continue.
Yeah, as Sherri said, I was in lockdown by myself, and I basically came to a point that I was like, if our goal is to avoid people, I can do that by myself in other places. Yeah. And so I took my dog and I put it in a car, and we went to 8 states, and I went to national and state parks and really got out in nature. And I can't tell you how satisfying it was. It was really helpful for my mental health. I really felt connected with people that I like, either professionally and personally. and just really came home inspired from that. I just felt like a new lease on life a little bit. And I felt like, you know, in this crazy time, there was a couple things that were going on. That one, it was really helpful for my own mental health, but I also felt like it was really good to connect with others and with nature. And I really liked the good news or like goodwill that we were creating even online. It really seemed to have something for people to tap into, and something that wasn't negative, that it was like, all right, here's something positive that people could check in on a regular basis and feel good about. And it felt really good to be part of that, of like, okay, how can we create more good stuff in the world instead of focusing on the bad stuff? And so when we talked about what are we going to do for Hit the Trails, it was like, well, you know, this isn't rocket science. It's not that hard. There's some beautiful places in this country. And if outdoors is safe, like, why can't we connect and get outside and kind of create that like inspiration for each other?
Yeah. We were talking this weekend. I think Shereese said, yeah, I made a list of 10 hikes I wanted to do. And now, what are the stats? I think it's 26 states. Is that right? That you're
Yeah, so we're going to be driving through 25 states. We're taking the long route to you, John, to Vegas. We're driving through the southern part of the U.S., up the East Coast, and then back over the northern states to land at HIMSS. And then we have coordinated hikes in the majority of those. And so our idea is like, let's get women and folks in health IT out in nature and kind of go walk and talk, and kind of, you know, share our ideas and see what kind of innovation and inspiration we can kind of inspire from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so people, if they want to find the hikes, they can go to hitlikeagirlpod.com/events, and all the hikes are listed there. It's free. You know, anyone can come. You know, obviously a lot of women are going to be coming and hiking and participating, you know, all across the country. I know Nashville's had a lot of people sign up. I think you're doing one in Dallas. We're going to do one in New York, Philly. Yeah.
Upper Peninsula of Michigan should be cool. I mean, we're hitting some really cool historical spots. We're going to be Niagara Falls. We're going to be at Mount Rushmore. We're going to be in the Rocky Mountains. We'll be at Moab, Utah. Like, nice. It's kind of incredible.
I told my Canadian friends they need to come on the Canadian side of Niagara Falls, and they can walk around there and wave to you.
That'd be awesome.
Since they're not allowed to cross the border right now. So. No, that's awesome. So, I mean, you did your first hike in Joshua Tree, and you know, I was lucky to be able to come down and kind of experience it. But what's your kind of takeaway from, you know, this first, you know, start of this adventure?
I really think.
Oh, go ahead, Shereese.
Okay. I really think what's amazing about it, I was telling Joy, is like that people are coming from all these different areas with all these different perspectives, and they actually show up and they are talking to us about issues that actually matter. You know, when you do something like this, I myself incurred 25 crazy ideas before breakfast. So I'm like, I mean, why not? And Joy logistically can pull stuff together. So it was amazing to me the type of women that showed up and our allies, and that we were able to share in such a way, and then have a really amazing time the whole time. So that's what showed up for me. I was like, this is great that we can put this idea out into the universe, and then people say, I can do that. That's one thing I can get out and do and make a difference.
And what I heard from some of the ladies who attended was like, you know, the hike itself, we were a little ambitious, like, okay, let's go on a long walk. We didn't end up going on the whole hike. It was really hot. And I think we all kind of agreed that we didn't have anything to prove. It wasn't about the distance. It was literally about connecting with each other. And everybody seemed to be really, you know, just kind of happy to be breaking up their normal routine, and having this human connection. And honestly, it was like, okay, mission accomplished. That's what we wanted to do.
Yeah, there were no regrets.
Yeah, and I don't think there was any competition, or, you know, like you said, you know, it's like, we're just here to be together. It doesn't really matter where we go or what we do, right?
Yeah.
So I thought
although I have said in the beginning, I'll be happy when we get to that point where it turns into an episode of Survivor. Like,
oh, stop.
Well, I mean, you two together for 3 months, and we'll see what, you know, who gets voted off the trailer, right?
Yeah.
I think it's interesting you say that. And I mean, I think something else that you're both doing is you're recording a bunch of podcasts along the way with all these women. And I mean, I was fascinated to see, we camped overnight, which obviously means you didn't sleep as good. You didn't, all of those things, right? Then we did a hike. And then after the hike, you have to sit down and do a podcast, which I mean, to me, I'm like, wow, that's a lot to take on, right? After you just hiked and you're tired, you're like, let's do a podcast. And so, wow, that's a lot to take on, isn't it?
But at the same time, when you have the opportunity to connect with people, a lot of times when you do podcasts, you don't necessarily have a feeling for them. And, it takes a little getting to know of each other and relaxing. And I feel like we got through that. We already had an opportunity to kind of, create a connection. And then when it was time to talk, it was really easy. Or like, all right, well, what do you want to talk about? We've got a lot that we can pull from.
Yeah, because I find that those walks, like the conversations we were having during the walks, it just primed our guests perfectly, because they were getting issues out and that type of thing, and we were talking through them, what they were thinking about. And so once we got them in front of the mic, it went really smoothly.
That's good. Well, I thought I got to enjoy the best part, which was everyone else just hanging out outside while you were recording and just having those conversations as well. I was actually talking with Brittany Partridge, who I think most people on Twitter know from UCSD, and we were just talking telehealth and remote patient monitoring and vendors and our prognostication. It was this really awesome conversation. And one of the other ladies was there kind of under the shade, actually kind of sleeping, I thought, taking a little nap while she waited for her friend who was doing the podcast. And after a minute, like, I don't know, I looked over there and she's like, this is so cool hearing you all talk like this. She's like, because I want to be in this world. And I work for I won't mention the organization, so I don't know if she's comfortable. And she's actually looking to switch jobs into something else in health IT in Southern California, because she used to live in DC. So, anyway, it was just like cool that she got to kind of experience that, and she, and we're like, well, let's help you find a job in Long Beach in health IT. So, yeah.
Well, I think there's really something special about like networking, and that's kind of a big part of this too, is kind of identifying who are the people who is in our community, building stronger relationships with each other. What is it that we know? How can we support one another? And I was really happy that you had a chance. I didn't know that you had never met Brittany in person, so it's really cool that you guys were only Twitter friends and then already have this relationship of like, oh, we can dial in and have this amazing conversation in person.
Exactly. It was definitely a, nerds conversation, a health IT nerd conversation. It was awesome, right? I mean, it was great. Well, how are you able to do this, right? 3 months, like, how can you afford this trip? I know you have some sponsors. Let's give a shout out to some sponsors that are helping to make this happen.
Oh, well, I say our biggest sponsor is InterSystems at the moment. That they're basically, their support is helping take off the weight of the trailer. We're renting this 17-foot trailer that we're taking with us. And Shereese, you want to speak to? Yeah, Consejo Sano is one. Insena Communications, the Physicians Moms Funds from the Sharp Index. My sister, Jenny Rios Home, she's been a great supporter. I mean, the list goes on there. Thank you. The Healthcare IT Today has been a supporter. We've had a lot of people kind of step in, and we're welcome for more, to be honest.
Yeah, we have also our coffee's being sponsored by CAFCON. They were very generous with us there. Evershine Care out of New Mexico is sponsoring our digs in New Mexico, so nice. We don't have to sleep in a tent. Christina Van Buren sponsored our digs in Los Angeles. That was very generous of her. So we've just been lucky with Barcode.ai. Oh my God, they were one of our earliest sponsors.
They were the first one, no hesitation. Yeah. They're like, we're in.
And you had cool hats, right? I saw you giving out some of their Botco.ai hats. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. And then, we've had, and with some of the interesting conversations we want to have, Behave VR, like we have a VR headset that we're traveling with that's loaner to kind of get to know that technology and speak to it, which is cool. And yeah, it's been really,
and Tableau, we can't forget them. Tableau is helping us with our data visualization of this whole journey. So women can actually sign in, post their hike, and help us collect some data that we're going to turn into some beautiful things. So
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how that turns
Mhm.
out too. But it is a big, like, it's audacious what we're doing. Like, there's no there's no two ways about it. Like, we decided, like, okay, we're doing this, and it's a big deal. But we're not staying in fancy hotels. A lot of times we're in campsites. We have the trailer, and like, if we need to sleep in a Walmart, we can sleep in a Walmart.
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
I think that's I think it's good for people to know, you still have some sponsorship opportunities. They're going to get mentioned all throughout these hikes and on your website, things like that. But also people, if they want to, I think can just buy a tank of gas, right? Or
That'd
buy
be
a night
amazing.
Airbnb or things
Mm-hmm.
like that as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
buy a tank of gas.
Gas prices. I mean, it's insane, right?
well, and I already went from the first adventure I was in my Prius. I had amazing gas mileage, and then I traded my car in for a 4Runner, so that's what's pulling this trailer, and already it has terrible mileage. And honestly, from where we were yesterday, John, at the border of California, Arizona, to where we are now in Phoenix, I was like, I've never seen my tank of gas empty so quickly.
Yeah.
that part I'm a little bit like, oh God, here we
It
go.
might have been you speeding across the rocks.
That was so funny to us. We were like, where'd Joy go?
She literally disappeared, and we're going into the middle of BLM land in the desert. We're like, are we gonna find her?
With the trailer, and I'm like zooming off. See ya.
Yeah, we thought for sure. Yeah, I was like, Shereese's makeup case of like 40 lipsticks is gonna fall out the back, or it'd be everywhere when she gets there because it's just bouncing. But I mean, what an experience! And if they haven't seen it, they should check out. I know, Joy, you posted, I think it was on the Hit Like a Girl podcast Twitter account, the video of you guys dancing on top of a bus, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
At sunset in the desert, honestly, how much fun is that? Like, we're all smart, happy people. We're dedicated to our work, but there's really something. I keep thinking we've all experienced some collective trauma, and
Yeah.
there's something really meaningful and powerful around just dancing and like letting your body kind of shake it out. And so it was really special to be with a small group of women on top of a school bus in the middle of the desert at sunset, having a dance party.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's the goal of this? I mean, is it to, it sounds like get a bunch of women together for these hikes. I think that's a big one, right? And obviously the connection. Is that where I mean, obviously there's some personal items as well, right? Shereese has her bucket list of hikes that she's going through. What do you think, Shereese? What are some of the main goals, you're really looking forward to?
Well, I think one of the basic things is self-advocacy. We really this past year have through our podcast and through the platform, we have a whole community around this idea that women should be able to self-advocate for themselves and not be apologetic for it. You're just simply being who you are and celebrating that, and that we want to celebrate you as well. So we started this kind of on a self-advocacy mindfulness point of view. And we're hoping that women will come out and feel empowered from these conversations we're having to take that back to their own lives and level up in whatever way they may need to, whatever way they're feeling or falling short. One of the questions we get through the social platforms and in the community, a lot of women in health IT don't know how to pivot or change roles in organizations where they are, don't know how to make themselves more visible within the organizations and that type of thing. So we talk about those things, and we're hoping as we go on these hikes that these women who join us will also feel empowered to take some of this away and say, hey, I can do that. I'm going to go back and try this, that, or the other, and really feel comfortable being a self-advocate.
Yeah, I feel like there's a big conversation around resilience, and like people have really tapped into, okay, well, I need to be we've all gone through something, and so how do we get through it and maintain our physical and mental health? And also, what momentum do we need to move forward? And I feel like there's something along the lines of not being afraid to try something and be a little bit audacious. And so even with the first hike, it was really special to me that a couple of those women in particular, like, had never slept outside before, had never been camping, had never gone on a trip by themselves. And so to sort of get over that fear of whether it's possible and knowing that they have a safe group of people that they can do that with, I'm hopeful gives them a little bit of confidence so that when they leave, they're like, you know what, whatever that next big journey is for them or whatever that next hurdle is, they won't be as either afraid or intimidated. Maybe they have a bit more confidence to kind of go forward and be a badass.
That's so beautifully stated. I mean, I was lucky to be there and see it firsthand, just that, you know, it's interesting, the mix of kind of fear because you've never done it, even though, you know, and I come, you know, I mean, full disclosure, I'm an Eagle Scout, dozen years as Scoutmaster, right? So outdoors for me was just so natural. So it was really fascinating to see someone who, with fresh eyes, right? Like that was afraid, but excited and nervous. And, you know, I mean, even Shereese trying to set up a tent the first time was just awesome, right? Like it was such a neat experience.
So Rana, you know, she's like, oh, look at my tent. And turns out it wasn't a tent. She had brought a cot. It wasn't even, and so we figured that out. But on night 2, she slept underneath the stars on top of the bus. And like somebody who had never been camping before, had 2 nights in a row of a bit of an adventure. And now she's off on her own on an adventure for her 40th birthday that she was like, I'd been holding back on doing this for myself for so long. I don't know what had been keeping me. And this has been enough of a push to get her to go, you know, accomplish this personal goal of hers. And so like that feels good.
Yeah, because I think for women, we can say things like pandemics and institutionalized sexism, that type of stuff, hold us back. But some obstacles we put in place for ourselves. So if we can do this and help women remove some of those obstacles, I think mission accomplished, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've shared with this on Twitter, so a lot of people know that, you know, you've inspired me as well. You know, I've gotten out and hiked more because of this. And, you know, like you said, I think we've all suffered through some COVID, you know, PTSD-ish type of, you know, feelings and emotions. So, you know, I'm just so inspired by both of you and everything you're going to accomplish. I just can't wait to hear all the stories and experiences you have together, but also on the hikes. So hopefully everyone will sign up for those hikes throughout the country and join you. And, you know, obviously if someone can sponsor, that's appreciated as well. So where can people go to learn more and find all the details?
The website is the first place to start. So hitlikeagirlpod.com. And then all of the event information is /events. But we are getting active on the socials. So we have a YouTube channel where if somebody wants to see the behind the scenes videos. Awesome. Can't say that they're super well produced, but we're putting ourselves out there.
No, it's awesome to get the insights. It's like behind the scenes look. I love it.
Yeah. And then of course, Twitter, IG, and we've got this vision for super fun TikTok dances for this whole thing too. So yeah, we're kind of switching it up and doing everything a little bit differently and all over the place. Somebody asked,
but regardless of the platform, it's all Hit Like a Girl Pod, so you don't have to really search for it. It's all the name is the same everywhere.
Yeah, somebody asked for our live feed, and I was like, I don't know the word.
Are you on ready for our post-up yet? Yeah, no one wants the live feed. No, actually, maybe somewhere. We could do it in New York. We'll do a live feed walk.
Oh, that might be
New York City. Would that be cool?
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Well, awesome. Thanks so much for sharing. I'm excited, you know, to have a small part of this and to experience it. I'm looking forward. I'm flying out to New York and I'll see you there. So, you know, I'll be following along and I hope everyone else will. Be sure to check it out at hitlikeagirlpod.com and find out all the details and see how you can take part. And of course, Hit the Trails on Twitter is a hashtag that we're using. You know, of course, all my listeners are pretty big into Twitter, I think. So check that out. Thanks, Joy. Thanks, Shereese. This was a lot of fun. And if you want to find out more information about this and about healthcare IT in general, be sure to check it out at healthcareittoday.com. Thanks, Joy. Thanks, Shereese.
Thanks, John.
For your support.